Today on the Commanders Report, I am going to tell you why new Commanders head coach Dan Quinn could be the NFL's Coach of the Year in 2024. Before we get into my reasonings why Coach Q could potentially win Coach of the Year this season, let me know down there in the comment section to get today's show off on the right foot. What is the percent chance that Dan Quinn wins Coach of the Year in the National Football League this season? Put it on a scale for me of 0, meaning no chance, to 100, meaning 100% chance he gets it. Let me know to kick off today's show. 0 to 100% chance DQ walks away with Coach of the Year honors. So my answer to this question, guys, is I'll give him a 10% shot. And I think that's a pretty decent chance, okay? Because I think that this is something that I think that Dan Quinn could walk away with. There's lots of great coaches in the National Football League. There's 32 of them. Okay, so this is definitely a lot of competition, and there's only one that can win the award. But I think that, with the circumstances that Dan Quinn is working with here, it is definitely an environment and a circumstance that could lend itself to a potential Coach of the Year performance if he can get the most out of the Commanders. The reasons why that I think Quinn would have a shot this year is, number one, recent NFL history. Okay, in half of the last 6 years, 3 of the last 6 years, the NFL's Coach of the Year was a first-year head coach. Okay, you had Brian Daboll in 2022. You had Matt Nagy in 2018. And then Kevin Stefanski won it in 2020. Right? So over the last 3 seasons, or 3 of the last 6, and honestly, it's been back-to-back years. So, we're due for a first-year head coach here. It seems like these first-year head coaches that come into some pretty dire situations, if they can turn it around in their first year as an NFL head coach for that franchise, they have a pretty darn good shot of winning Coach of the Year that season. That's exactly what Dan Quinn has the opportunity to do this season. The second reason why I think Quinn has a decent shot at winning Coach of the Year honors this year is that he has an excellent culture. He's one of the best culture builders in the National Football League. You just watch people at practice. You listen to people talk about this new culture. It's full of energy. It's everything that Ron Rivera's previous culture here in Washington was not, right? It's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. Dan Quinn is a high-energy individual. He's bringing in a lot of people that are high-energy individuals, and it's a high-energy organization now, which is something you just haven't been able to say about this franchise for a very, very long time. He turned things around in Atlanta, his first stint as an NFL head coach, extremely quickly, and I think the culture that he's bringing here is going to get a lot of buy-in, and it's going to have a lot of players wanting to win football games here in Washington, similar to how Dan Campbell was able to build the culture that he has built there with the Detroit Lions. So before I go over my final 2 reasons why I think Dan Quinn could be Coach of the Year this year, I just want to let you guys know that we passed the Ravens rundown. In fact, we smoked them now, where we're over 100 subscribers ahead of the Ravens rundown, thanks to you guys clicking that subscribe button on a previous video last week. And now we set our sights on the Alabama Football Report, who does have quite a substantial lead here, but I have all the confidence in the world here that by the start of the regular season, my goal is to pass up the Alabama Football Report. So if you're a new viewer, make sure you click that subscribe button to help us pass Alabama and move up the Chat Sports Power Rankings. Here is what the Alabama Football Report host, and Cowboys Report host, by the way, Tom Downey, had to say about Dan Quinn. I'm thrilled the Communists, meaning the Commanders, took Dan Quinn off the Cowboys' hands. He was massively overrated. After his defense got embarrassed in the playoffs last year, I literally can't wait to play him twice a year now. Now with him not weighing us down anymore, get ready for another Cowboys Super Bowl. So new viewers, man, I need you to just shut up, Tom Downey, right now. Please, just click that subscribe button. Try us out for a week. I promise you guys, the only thing that you're going to regret is that you didn't click that button sooner. Okay, so let's get into number 3 on the list here, which is that this Washington Commanders roster has legitimate holes on it. And if Dan Quinn is able to get the most out of those units and really put together a collection of good players here that's able to make a pretty decent run and win some games, that's going to be very impressive, because right now you could look at this roster and offensive tackle is clearly an issue. Cornerback is clearly an issue. Those are probably the top 2 If Nick Allegretti it doesn't live up to what this team expects him to be, the interior of the offensive line could struggle a little bit. Of course, you have a rookie quarterback, so if your offensive tackles and your left guard aren't playing particularly well, that's going to definitely not be good for your rookie quarterback, who could crumble a little bit. And then tight end, you got a guy that's older in Zach Ertz that might not be as productive, and then you got Ben Sinnott, a younger guy that's still trying to come up on the up and up here that might not be as productive either. So these are definitely legit holes on this Commanders roster. And if Dan Quinn is able to overcome these roster deficiencies here and still deliver a winning product, that's definitely going to lend itself to him winning Coach of the Year this season. Then the final reason why I think Dan Quinn could win Coach of the Year this year is that this kind of goes along with the roster having holes here, is that the team as a whole has pretty low expectations heading into this year. Everyone's expecting, including myself, by the way, that this is going to be a rebuilding year, that they're not going to make the playoffs, that they are, maybe they get to 6-7 wins and they're competitive, but they're not really going to have any shot at competing for a title or even winning a playoff game this year. But what exactly this means, okay, if Quinn can overcome the deficiencies of the roster and get this team to 9 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins, and get this team to the playoffs and kind of overcome some of the shortcomings of this roster and kind of develop some of these players that need to be developed, I mean, goodness gracious, that would be the best coaching job in the National Football League this year, especially coming into it in just his first season as the head coach of this program. So if he can get to 10, 11 wins and get this team into the postseason either as the NFC East champions or as a wild card, I think you'd be pretty hard-pressed to give this award to any coach not named Dan Quinn. But the problem with this plan here is executing that, because like we've said throughout this show, you do have those roster holes to deal with, okay? You still have issues at offensive tackle and at cornerback. You're going to have to really fix those issues here, and you're going to have to find solutions to those problems if things are going to get if the playoffs are ever going to be a possibility. And it's definitely the solutions to those questions are definitely easier said than done because you don't have established talent. However, if Dan Quinn's able to pull it off, I think we might be watching him hoist that trophy at the NFL Honors this year. Now, predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will the Commanders make the NFL playoffs here in 2024? Give me a yes or no. Speak it into existence if you want the Commanders to make the playoffs this year. Now, before you click away here, make sure you've liked the video to make sure that this video performs the best that it can in the YouTube algorithm, all right? We're trying to build this channel as much as possible. When you click that thumbs up icon, YouTube recommends this video to more Commanders fans like yourself. So if you want to help us build our community here on the Commanders Report and you want daily and free more Commanders videos here every single day, make sure you click that subscribe button as well, because we greatly appreciate all of your support, guys. And we'll see you guys next time. And until next time, hail to the Commanders.